I can't date you if you don't have a car. And I'm like, do you have a car, boo? Your standards are not too high for you to say, I don't want a man that's gonna cheat. Your standards are not too high. So one of the things that I heard as a single person growing up was always, your standards are too high. Are you sure you're gonna find someone? Like, when I make some certain statements, when I say certain things, you hear someone say, in this Nigeria, where will you find that kind of man? And it was so important for me that I was surrounded by stories that were possible, people sharing their stories. For example, maybe I was like, okay, I don't want to fornicate, for example. Someone will now say, oh, damn, you're not ready to find boyfriend. But I realized that, you know, even after getting married, even while I was single, there were certain of my friends, or there were certain friends that I had, or people that I know, acquaintances and all, colleagues, who actually had high standards. Like, their standards were actually too high, okay? They want to kill somebody's son with standards. So there's a difference when you are standing by the truth and saying, this is what I want, and your standards being extremely high. For example, I know people saying, oh, I can't date you if you don't have a car. And I'm like, do you have a car, boo? But then there are certain things that can happen to you. There's a certain level that you'll be at that you actually need to, I don't even know how to say it, but there's a level that you'll be at that you need someone that can match your level. Let's be honest. For example, if you've been going on holidays as a person, like for example, your father is Dangote, and you've been going on holidays, maybe you go on holidays 3 times a year, then you now meet this guy that lives in Mushin. You stay on the island, for example. You meet this guy that lives in Mushin. He doesn't have an international passport. Let's not lie, that can be really tough. It will look like your standards are too high for the guy, but the guy is actually not on your level. And this makes the dating pool kind of smaller for you as a woman. So I want to talk about all these things in this video. So if you're interested, make sure to keep watching. I just realized that I haven't even actually done an intro. You guys, welcome back to my channel if you're new here. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. So in this video, I want us to draw the line between your standards being too high and you just really staying in your level. If we're talking about normal Christian standards, like don't fornicate or have love, kindness, whatever, it's normal as a Christian woman or Christian man to have that expectation of your partner if both of you are Christians, right? That's normal. If you are now saying that, oh, I don't want to be with someone that fornicates, and people are telling you that, oh, sex is now normal, even Christians are doing it, pastors are doing it, your standards are too high, I can't keep body, then maybe it's not that the person is not a Christian. No, that's the funny thing, is that the person has not grown to that stage of total submission of their bodies to Christ. So the person is not for you. And I know that it may be hard, it may be like, I'm tired of waiting. But you can choose to trust God and say that, God, I know that you give me the person that would chase after you wholeheartedly. People have done it, and that's why it's important that we share stories. People have done it. A lot of people have shared their stories of how they waited, right? Now, this does not mean that maybe if the person slips up. Now, there's a difference. That's something we should actually talk about. There's a difference between someone slipping up. Like, for example, the person has already told you, okay, yeah, we won't have sex together and all of that. And then you now, maybe one time you guys were together, and the person touched you, you touched him, something shall happen, and the person is sincerely apologetic. That does not mean that the person has, is going to go to hellfire. We need to make room for people's excesses too, especially if it's someone that has had sex before, and you can deliberately see that person is trying his best. What both of you now have to do is choose accountability and say, okay, maybe we should stop staying in this place because it's making our body do gish gish. My husband and I had that kind of experience where it wasn't sex, but we had, the gish gish moment, and we had to now tell ourselves that, okay, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. That's why. And the funny thing was, in the beginning, both of us, I think that's a whole video, you guys. If you want that video, the video of how we slipped up in the dating phase, you guys, comment below. That's a whole video. Maybe my husband will be there, maybe, I don't know, but tell me if you want the video. But let's continue on the topic of your standards being too high. So what I'm just trying to say is, even if someone slips up, I mean, we have the right to, we should have empathy to make room for their excesses, because people are people, right? Nobody is totally pure. And that's what I actually learned when that happened to my husband and I during our dating phase, because I was gonna break up. Okay, I'm gonna say, yo, it's over. Anyway, so that's one side. Now on the side of finances, I find finances as one of the key factors when this standards thing comes into place. It's not totally the key factor actually, but major, right? Now people are always in that point where they're like, I can't date someone that, especially women. I'm always speaking to women because my experiences are majorly tailored around women when it comes to relationship, dating, and all of that. I can speak from a woman's perspective. So for women, we're always like, oh, we can't date someone that earns less than us. And well, can you blame us? Society has told us that men are the provider. And it feels somehow to now be with a man that's earning less than you. When I met my husband, yo, you guys, he didn't have a job. And I had a job, okay? So that's a whole story entirely, right? I have so many stories I've not shared, you guys. Story time post, just comment if you want me to share all these stories. But yeah, so when we met, like, yeah, I could see that he was a great guy and everything. But do you know the funny thing? Immediately we met, he went to get a job. So you can see a man that is enterprising. And I know that it's something we should tell ourselves, like, don't fall in love with potential. Because if you fall in love with a man's potential, what he can become, if he doesn't become, you will resent him. And that's on period. But it's important to also see people from the lens of Christ. See that people can grow, right? So if you see someone and the person looks like he's enterprising, he knows what he's doing, he speaks like someone that has sense, I think you can tell when you meet someone that has sense. Not someone that is overly. Now that's the thing, we have to actually divide it. Women, my women, are you people listening? You have to actually cross the line. That someone is not overly enthusiastic, like, you know, people that just have big dreams. They just have dreams that are not realistic. There's a difference between someone who is overly enthusiastic, as in he has unrealistic dreams, and someone that you can tell that actually has dreams, goals, purpose for himself. So there's that line where we have to draw as women to say that we can make room for someone's growth, right? So yes, there may be a life that you have planned for yourself, and that's not bad, okay? But let us not be too much, like, don't expect unnecessary things, especially if you don't have it. Now for the people that have it, this is a whole different conversation that we can have, because the fact is you have it and we have to give it to you because you get them. For example, like the example I gave earlier about how, you know, if you're Dangote's daughter now, you get them. The fact is life doesn't work like Nollywood, okay? Let's say the truth. You know, in Nollywood, rich guy meets poor girl, girl meets poor guy. Maybe she went to buy corn on the road. She stops him. Oh, they start talking. The next thing, they want to get married. Their parents are against each other. It doesn't work like that in real life, okay? In real life, the rich marry the rich most of the time. And when I'm talking about rich, I'm talking about wealthy, because obviously someone like me now, I'm not poor, if I do say so myself. Like, I'm talking $10 wealthy. You know, the big names in Nigeria, they cannot marry someone that cannot give them the lifestyle that they're looking for. And I know that this thing, and see, this is the thing also, it's only a few people that marry out of their circle. Half of the time people marry within their circles. So if you're wealthy, it makes your dating pool even smaller, right? If you're popular, smaller. If you're influencer, celebrity, even tinier. So you may have to shift your level a little bit if you want to meet someone that is genuine as someone that is popular or wealthy or rich. And that's a fact. Points that your standards are too high is when, number one, maybe apart from when it's like something that is with, like, if you're a Christian now, it's like biblical standard. Your standards are not too high for you to say, I don't want a man that's gonna cheat. Your standards are not too high, because that is scripture, right? While we can make room for people's excesses, we must not accommodate unnecessary bad behavior, right? So someone is constantly cheating and telling you, oh, that's how men are. Excuse me, are you trying to change, or you're trying to just keep justifying your bad behavior? No. Okay, if you're saved and you know that you profess Christ, you should be making effort to not cheat. So we're not saying that it can't happen. We're saying that at least let the person be putting effort. It's not that a man will be telling me by himself that, oh, I can marry another wife anytime I like, or I'm polygamous in nature, or women are looking for me up and down. And you're saying that my standard is too high for me to say I don't want a man like that. How? So that's one side. Now, but when you know that your standards are too high, when you are demanding something that you're not yourself. For example, you're demanding a man that's earning 2 million, meanwhile you can't even earn 1 million yourself. That is just being a gold digger. But I mean, if you find someone that'll marry you, it's okay. I remember that I was having a conversation with my colleagues the other day, and I was telling them about how, as a man, if you're like married, if you want to come home to a romantic woman, should have been prepping her since morning, sending her cute messages, can buy her flowers, something, be romantic. And these men were telling me, I beg, nobody has time for that one. And I just thought about it, that is the barest minimum. My husband is not the most romantic, but he's making effort. And another thing is, when you see someone, when you're with someone and the person is not making the effort that you want them to make, all you just have to do is tell them. I think it was Tosin Alabi who said that she told her husband to buy her flowers because she liked flowers. So if you're someone like that too, talk to this person. But when you have spoken to the person and the person's standard is not gelling with you, the person is not moving according to the waves that you want them to move, I think it's okay to say that, okay, I want a romantic man, but you're not giving me. Especially when you can see that the person is not making effort. It's different, right? And also, I think it's important that we mention that we should also try not to compare our partners with other people's partners. Yeah, many people post on Instagram, for example, I know a lot of couple pages, I follow some, they post romantic stuff, and sometimes I see some challenges and I want to do it with my husband too. I mean, it's cute, but it doesn't mean that because my husband is not available to do it, or we don't have the time self to do it, then I'll not start to resent my husband and say, oh, my husband is not doing it, when I know that he's doing all the other major things that he needs to do. So sometimes you have certain standards that were given to you because of other people's relationships. So ask yourself, why am I seeking this thing that I'm seeking? Yeah, that's also something we should talk about. But all in all, I think it's important that as a person, you have negotiables and non-negotiables. Once that is in place, you'll be able to tell what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. You'll be able to tell when someone is not meeting up to what you want them to do. All in all, as a Christian, what I'll say is follow God, trust God. I've seen God make unromantic men become romantic, right? So follow God, trust God to give you that great man. As long as you know that God is in it, flow with it. Give people room to make mistakes, right? Not like you're expecting them to make mistakes, but even if they make mistakes, try to forgive. That's what I'm trying to say. Make excesses. Yeah, and on that note, I will see you guys in my next video. Make sure to comment below whether you have an experience with this. Let's talk about it in the comment section, and I'll see you in my next video. I'm not saying that it can't happen. Hello, baby. Stop disturbing my video. Hi. Go and sit down there. Go and watch Ukomelo.